What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Monday, August 26th. Sunday went pretty well for us, guys. We finished things off 4-2 overall. We had the under in that early game, guys. We had Washington, Atlanta under 8.5. That ended up being a 5-1 win for Washington, with both starters looking great in that one. So getting things off to a good start there. We also had Cleveland minus 125. That ended up being a 4-2 very solid win there. Clutch hitting late there for Cleveland and a great start there from Boyd. We had the Royals minus 125. Yeah, that was kind of a debacle. They lost that game 11-3. They only had 3 runs on 10 hits, and Lugo got absolutely shelled in that game, so that wasn't ideal. We also had the Brewers minus 120. That was a loss, a 4-3 loss, so a 1-run loss there. Estes was just lights out against the Brewers in this one, and they only had 3 hits in that game, so that was tough, but we finished things off very strong, guys. We had the Padres minus 118. That was a walk-off home run by rookie Jackson Merrill there in the 9th inning, so that was a great way to win that game. And we also had the Dodgers minus 1.5 at plus 115. Gavin Stone was absolutely lights out in that game. We saw a 2-run home run in the 8th inning by Mookie Betts to give the Dodgers that 3-1 win and get us the solid winning day here on Sunday. So we'll definitely take that. Let's get after it here in the new week. Before we jump into the games, though, guys, hit that like button. We are giving away 1 week of premium picks at stumpthespread.com, which is a $40 value to one random person who has liked this video and also left a comment below. As soon as we have a video hit 1K likes, guys, we are going to be running that giveaway. We got close on Sunday, getting over 700. We have gotten to 1,000 likes in the past, and I know we can do it again. You can also subscribe to the channel for free to get notifications of our daily uploads, and you can now sign up for a channel membership. We're working on some members perks for the channel, so stay tuned for that. Our videos are sponsored by stumpthespread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and preseason NFL, with regular season NFL right around the corner. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below to get in on the giveaway and with any bets you're looking at today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got game 1 in the doubleheader between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox. The Blue Jays come into this game fresh off of finishing off a 4-game sweep there of the Angels. Pretty crazy stuff there, honestly, from the Blue Jays. They'll definitely take it, but at 63-68 on the season, not likely to be headed in any sort of important direction this year. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Yariel Rodriguez, who's 1-5 on the season with a 4.40 ERA. Not really having a great time over his last couple of starts, guys. He struggled against a couple of National League opponents. Yeah, really taking it on the chin his last time out against the Cincinnati Reds. 4 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs surrendered in that game. His start before that was at Wrigley Field against the Cubs. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs. He gave up 3 home runs in that game. Like, just not his best stuff. Before that, he'd thrown the ball well in a couple starts in a row, but yeah, Yariel Rodriguez, not somebody we're looking at as throwing the ball particularly well at the moment. So that's a concern, and also we're very worried about that Toronto bullpen, guys. They are not having a good time. An ERA of nearly 5. I think that's 3rd worst in the MLB. Yeah, that they're ahead of the White Sox and the Colorado Rockies. Not exactly where you want to be with your bullpen. In terms of their offense, they've been looking pretty good in this, this little run here they've got going. They've scored 8, 3, 5, and 5 runs respectively over their last few games. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. obviously looking like a monster out there. He's up to 27 home runs. I mean, this team is only 22nd in the majors in runs scored, though, so he can only do so much to carry an offense or to carry a baseball team as just one individual. I mean, they're 18th in the majors in batting average, 18th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, overall, just not an amazing offensive team. Not terrible, not like a disaster, but not a team we can really trust to put up a ton of runs. So we'll see what they can do here in game 1 against the Red Sox, who come into this one fresh off of a sweep of their own. Unfortunately, they're the ones that got swept, guys. They lost all 3 games to the Diamondbacks. They lost 7-5, 4-1, and 12-2. So yes, some of those games not even really that competitive. The Red Sox going to be handing the ball to Cutter Crawford, hoping he can, turn things around for them and kind of for himself. He's 8-11 on the season with a 4.22 ERA. He is coming off of a pair of pretty solid starts there, guys. I mean, he had a good start against the Diamondbacks. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. Against a team like the Diamondbacks, that is pretty solid work. He also had a good start before that at Baltimore, guys. At Camden Yards, giving up only 2 hits and 3 earned runs over 5 1/3 innings. That's not too bad. So we're actually kind of happy with how Crawford is throwing the ball at the moment. Can we trust him in this matchup going against the Blue Jays? We'll just have to wait and see. This isn't a team that he's taken on before this season, so going to be kind of interesting to see what we get out of him. Also going to be interesting to see what we get out of that Boston bullpen, which is atrocious, guys. A 4.48 bullpen ERA has them right there in the same category as the Toronto Blue Jays as a bullpen that's really, really bad. So we'll see what we get from both of these pitching staffs. Not expecting miracles, although I do think there's a good shot that Crawford will have a good start. What are we going to get out of those Boston bats? Well, they've been in a bit of a slump, guys. They've scored 5, 1, and 2 runs respectively over their last 3 games. This is supposed to be one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball, but all these great numbers over the course of the season are pretty much trending in a negative direction. I mean, they're still 5th in runs scored. They're 4th, batting 260 as a team. Like, the 4th best batting average in the major leagues as a squad is pretty impressive, but yeah, I mean, it's not translating right now, guys. 2nd in the majors in slugging percentage, 5th in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, this is supposed to be a team that's putting up a ton of runs, and that is not what's happening right now. Could that turn around in this game? I absolutely think there's a decent chance, guys, and so do the odds makers. We've got the Blue Jays at plus 136 in this game, the Red Sox at minus 152. We've got over-under showing out there of 9.5 or 10, so some pretty big numbers expected in this game in terms of offense. And looking at the trends for this one, Toronto, not a great road team, 29-35 on the road, but Boston, not a great home team. They're 29-34 at home, so yeah, that's not great. Not a ton to go with there. I am leaning towards Boston in this one. Minus 152 seems a bit expensive, but I really think we're going to see Crawford have a good day in this one. I also think there's a good chance that the Boston offense gets going here. So if you honestly wanted to take Boston minus 1.5 here in game 1, you can do it plus 130. That seems fairly appealing to me. I mean, they're in a real bounce back situation, but the problem here for me is Toronto is pretty hot right now. So looking at the over under for this game, we see both teams showing very slight trends, but those trends are towards the over. Over 9.5 in game 1 of a doubleheader on a Monday seems like a bit of a big ask. So generally speaking in this game, I'm going to be leaning towards the Red Sox minus 152. I don't think this is going anywhere near the pinned comment though. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at game 1 of another doubleheader. We've got the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Cleveland Guardians. The Royals come into this game not having the best time. They just lost 2 in a row to the Phillies. They lost 2 out of 3 in that series to fall to 72-58 on the season. They're 3 games back of Cleveland, so this is a very important doubleheader, a very important series for the Royals. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Cole Rangans, who comes into this game 10-8 on the season with a 3.31 ERA. So not looking too shabby out there, but unfortunately his last start was a tough one, guys. It was against the Angels. 5 innings, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 runs overall. Just not his best stuff in that game. I mean, he walked 3 and struck out 9, so 9 strikeouts, obviously that's great, but yeah, walking 3, not this guy's normal MO, but he does occasionally have games like that where he struggles with his control, so we'll see what we get out of Rangans in this one. The last time he took on Cleveland, things didn't really go his way. 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs given up in a game the Royals lost 7-2. That was back at the very end of June, so, you know, not super recent, but also not that long ago, so we're a little bit worried about Rangans. He maybe hasn't been looking quite like himself since the All-Star break, so we'll see what we get out of him. We'll also see what we get from that Royals bullpen, which is a huge concern, guys. They are 25th in the majors with a 4.47 bullpen ERA. That is weak stuff, so not very excited about the prospect of the Royals bullpen having to pitch in a chunk of this game, and really not that excited about how their offense has looked for the last couple days either, scoring only 5 runs over their last 2 games against the Phillies. So yeah, not swinging the hottest bats here. Obviously this has been a good offensive team over the course of the season, but a lot of those numbers have come when playing at home. I mean, we've seen great stuff from Bobby Witt Jr. He's looking like a monster out there still. This team is 7th in the majors in runs scored and 6th in the majors in batting average, but right now not swinging the hottest bats. So we'll see what they can do here against Cleveland in game 1 of this doubleheader. The Guardians come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there against the Rangers. At 75-55 on the year, they've got a 3-game cushion in the AL Central over Minnesota and Kansas City. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Nick Sandlin, who comes into this game. He's normally a bullpen pitcher. His last bullpen appearance was at the Yankees, guys, and it wasn't his best work, but generally speaking, he's been pretty good. And guys, this is a bullpen start from the Cleveland Guardians. So taking that into consideration, going to be wanting to notice here that Cleveland is the best bullpen team in the major leagues. They've been the best bullpen in Major League Baseball pretty much all season long. Currently a 2.71 ERA coming out of the pen. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Maybe we don't expect miracles here from Sandlin, but he's not going to be out there for that long unless he's really, lights out. If he's not, they're going to bring up the next guy, and it is going to be someone good, guys. This is an elite bullpen, so expecting good things from the Cleveland pen in this game, even making the entire start here. What do we think we're going to see from their offense? That's a little bit more hit or miss, guys. No pun intended, but yeah, they've scored 4, 13, 3, 0, and 1 runs over the last few games. Seems like things are kind of heating back up here. I mean, we saw Fry hit a solo home run. We've seen Quan and Ramirez. They're the real, forces behind this offense, and they've been good this season. This team is tied for 12th in the majors in runs scored, but other than that, they're kind of looking like a below average offense. Is that going to be the case in this game? I mean, they're going up against a guy they had a lot of success against early in the season and against one of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball. So to be honest, I'm expecting them to find a way to put up some runs here. I mean, especially if Quan and Ramirez can kind of get things going a little bit. I'm expecting some definite scoring from Cleveland, and looking at the numbers for this one, guys, I'm a little bit surprised. We've got the Royals at plus 104, the Guardians at minus 121. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game, so a pretty small number there. The Royals, not a great road team, 31-30 on the road. Cleveland is a great home team, though, guys, 39-21 at home this season. In terms of the over-under, we've got, the Royals, they're an under team on the road. Cleveland, they're a big over team at home. With an over-under of only 7.5, I would tend to lean towards the over. But, guys, in this game one here, this doubleheader, I really like the Guardians. A full bullpen start for Cleveland, not something that I'm worried about. I think they're going to be absolutely fine out there. I haven't been liking what I'm seeing from Rangans lately, and all that is leading me towards definitely being on the Guardians in game one. Next up, guys, moving into the evening games, we're looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Cubs come into this game 65-66 on the year, fresh off of a 7-2 loss there to the Marlins. They did win 2 out of 3 in that series at Miami, but yeah, you need to be sweeping teams like the Marlins at this point in the season if you're the Cubs and you're trying to make some sort of push here. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Jameson Taillon, who's 8-8 on the season with a 3.77 ERA. He's coming off another mediocre start, guys. I mean, his last time out was against the Tigers. 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. Against a team like the Tigers, it's not really going to impress me too much. His start before that was against Cleveland. Another decent but not elite start. I mean, 6 innings, 5 hits, and 4 earned runs. Maybe that's a little bit better. At least he didn't give up any home runs in that game. But yeah, his start before that against the White Sox, he got absolutely shelled. So not really loving what we're seeing from Taillon right now. He was great in the early goings this season, but things have kind of tailed off. So we could see a good chunk of that Cubs bullpen, although it seems like you can pretty much pencil Taillon in for 5 innings at least. But the Cubs bullpen has been top 10 here for quite a while. They're sporting a 3.65 ERA coming out of the pen, so that's not terrible. Definitely something you can work with as a team. But guys, the offense has been the problem for this team pretty much over the course of the season. Lately, things have been turning around a little bit. I mean, series against Detroit and the Miami Marlins will definitely help that situation. They've scored 2, 14, 6, 10, and 2 runs over their last few games. We've seen good stuff from guys like Bellinger and Happ this season, but yeah, is this a top-tier offense? I mean, their numbers over the course of the season would indicate no. 22nd in the majors, batting .236 as a team. 20th in the majors with a slugging percentage of .390. Like, this just doesn't feel like a great offense to me. So looking at their opponent in this game, we'll see what they can do. The Pirates here, they come into this game winners of 3 out of their last 4. Yeah, they had a walk-off win there, a 2-run home run in the 9th inning to eventually beat the Reds there 4-3. So they've got to be stoked about that, but at 62-68 on the season, they are in the last spot there in the NL Central. They're hitting the ball in this game to Mitch Keller, who has had a good season, guys. He's 11-7 overall with a 3.76 ERA. His last start was absolutely lights out. It was against the Rangers, guys. Not the toughest opponent, but still 7 innings, 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, 0 walks, and 0 runs allowed. That is a premium outing. A nice bounce back after rough starts against the Padres and the Dodgers. Can't really blame a guy too much for having rough starts against those 2 teams, though. So we'll see what Keller can do in this one. I'm expecting pretty good stuff from him. We are worried about this Pirates bullpen. Although they've been getting a little bit better recently, a 4.17 ERA coming out of the pen doesn't exactly fill me with tons of confidence. Their offense has also been a problem. Just over the course of the season, guys, not a great offense. I mean, they've scored 4, 2, 6, 7, and 0 runs over their last few games. Obviously, Brian Reynolds doing what he can, but he's been slumping a bit recently. I mean, they're 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 23rd in the majors, batting .233 as a team. They're the 27th best slugging percentage team in the majors. Like, this is not an offense that really fills me with tons of happiness, tons of excitement. Just not an offense that I'm very high on. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Cubs at plus 100. We've got the Pirates at minus 108. We got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. The Cubs, not a great road team, 29-36 on the road. The Pirates, not a great home team, 31-33 at home. No huge trends here towards the over-under. The Cubs are a bit of an under team on the road. Generally speaking, in this game, guys, I'm leaning a little bit towards the Pirates. Minus 120 seems a little bit expensive. Is this a spot that we're like super excited about? I mean, even with Keller having some good history against the Cubs much earlier this season, I don't think we're really going to freak out about this game. It seems unlikely that it would end up in the pinned comment. I mean, I am leaning towards the Pirates, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I just don't have enough faith in their offense to, hold up in this one. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Astros come into this game fresh off of a desperately needed 6-3 win there at Baltimore. They went 2-2 in that series, so I guess that's all right. And at 70-60 in the year with a 4.5 game cushion in the AL West, I think Houston's pretty content with where they're at. They're going to be hitting the ball in this game to Ronel Blanco, who comes into this game 9-6 with a 3.14 ERA. His last start was not a good one, though, guys. Against the Red Sox, he didn't have a very good time. 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs allowed, and a 6-5 loss there for the Astros. Prior to that, he'd been looking pretty good. Even had a decent start against Boston. Maybe not his best stuff, but generally speaking, he had looked pretty good in that game. But now he's going up against a pretty tough-hitting opponent in the Phillies, a team that he has not faced yet this season. So we'll see what he can do. We'll also see what we get out of that Houston bullpen, guys. They've been pretty good here recently, somewhere around 7th in the majors with a 3.60 bullpen ERA. So not a bad bullpen at all. Definitely one we would look at as a plus level unit. In terms of their offense, guys, the Astros just feel wildly inconsistent to me. They've scored 6, 2, 5, 6, 1, and 5 runs over their last few. They're 12th in the majors in runs scored despite being a top 10 in both batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. So where is the offense for this team? You got me, guys. I do not know. It is very hot and cold. One day great, next day terrible. So we'll see what we get out of them in this one. It's maybe not going to be the easiest time, though. They're taking on the Phillies, who come into this game winners of 2 out of their last 3 in that series at Kansas City. They are 76-54 in the year. They've got a 6-game lead over Atlanta there in the NL East. They're going to be giving the ball to Zach Wheeler in this game, who's 12-6 this season with a 2.73 ERA. Wheeler has been absolutely dealing over his last 4 starts, guys. He has never allowed more than 2 earned runs. We actually see the Phillies are only 2-2 over that stretch, which is a little bit embarrassing for their offense, but generally speaking, guys, it seems like the offense might be back on track, and obviously we are very comfortable with what we've been seeing from Wheeler here lately, and what we've seen from him all season long. This dude is an absolute monster. In terms of the Phillies bullpen, that is a completely different story. Although they are improving, guys, a 4.04 bullpen ERA is significantly better than what it was, let's say, a week or so ago. They had some pretty dark times for that bullpen, and those dark times could definitely return, but right now things are looking up a little bit, and the offense has been on fire. Just over the last couple of games, guys, they've scored 11 in each of their last 2, so that's very positive stuff. Great to see guys like Schwarber, Castellanos getting back after it. Like, this team is supposed to be a top 2 or 3 offense in the majors, and right now they're back to looking like that. They're 5th in the majors in batting average, 7th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, this is a team that can absolutely hit the ball. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Astros at plus 142, the Phillies at minus 145. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Houston 32-31 on the road. The Phillies are 42-22 at home. That's 20 games above 500 at home, guys. We also see both teams showing trends towards the under in this situation. Houston is a big under team on the road, 37-25-4 to the under on the road. The Phillies are 32-29-3 to the under at home. So generally speaking, in this game, guys, I am leaning towards the red hot Phillies at minus 145. It's a bit expensive. I also do like under 7.5 in this spot. I think we're going to see both starters have a pretty good time. It seems a bit tough, though. If either team really gets going offensively, 7.5 is not very far to get to. So I honestly think my bigger lean in this one is the Phillies minus 145. But do I have enough faith in them in this tough matchup to put it in the pinned comment? I don't really think so. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at game 2 of that doubleheader between the Royals and the Cleveland Guardians. The Royals obviously will be coming into this game fresh off of whatever the result they get in game 1 of that series, which is obviously pretty important to me in terms of predicting this game. So you're going to have to check back in that pinned comment. I don't know if it'll for sure, if whether or not it's going to make it in there, but you're going to want to check back after game 1 ends to see if I end up throwing game 2 in there. The Royals are going to be handing the ball to Alec Marsh in game 2, guys. 7-7 on the year with a 4.71 ERA. His last start was a good one, albeit a short one against the Chicago White Sox. So yeah, not too impressed with giving up 2 earned runs over 4 2/3 innings to a team like the White Sox. Yeah, just Alec Marsh, not somebody that impresses me very much. He seems like one of the worst starters for the Royals at this point in the season. He does have a good outing relatively recently, back on June 28th there against Cleveland. 6 innings, 4 hits, only a single earned run allowed in that game. So yeah, some positive history against Cleveland not that long ago. So we're going to give him a little bit of credit. Maybe he'll be fine in this matchup. He had a really bad outing against the Diamondbacks recently, though, and a really bad outing against the weak-hitting Tampa Bay Rays. So this just isn't a guy that I'm super, super high on, and he hasn't started a game since Monday, July 29th. So it's been a while since we've seen him out there on the mound in the major leagues. We'll see what he figured out down there in the minors, but I'm a little bit worried about how he's going to look in this game, and I'm always going to be worried about that Royals bullpen, guys. Even if they've been maybe just a hair better recently, a 4.47 ERA coming out of the pen is pretty bad, and they haven't been having a good time in their series they had against the Phillies either. So yeah, pretty low on the Royals pitching staff in this part of this doubleheader, at least, if not just in general. The offense hasn't been killing it either, guys. 3, 2, 7, and 3 runs over the last few games. Like we talked about earlier, Bobby Witt Jr. doing his thing. This is an offense that's good, but inconsistent. So we'll see what they can do here in game 2 against the Guardians, who are going to be handing the ball to Logan Allen. He is 8-4 this season with a 5.56 ERA. The 25-year-old has been showing some inconsistency over this season, but his last 2 starts have been very, very good. Against Arizona, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. They were both home runs, so definitely giving up some mistake pitches there. His start before that against the Giants was good as well. 4 1/3 innings, only 2 earned runs in that one, and he struck out 9. So he's got some pretty good stuff. He has faced the Royals recently. It didn't go amazing. 4 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs allowed in that one, so not great, and that was back on June 30th, so not that long ago. We'll see what we get out of him. We'll also just see in general what happens in this game, guys. A lot will be based on what goes on in game 1 of this series, so we'll just have to wait and see. Right now the numbers for game 2 are the Royals -102 and the Guardians -116 with an over-under of 8.5. To be honest, I would be leaning towards the over here in game 2. That's going to be my main lean as of now, but check back, see if this makes it into the pinned comment. I'm not making any predictions on this one until I see the results of game 1. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Yankees come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there against Colorado. We see Aaron Judge just absolutely cruising along. Feels like the dude hits a home run every day. He hit 2 yesterday, numbers 50 and 51 on the season. The Yankees are 77-54 on the year. They've got a game and a half cushion there over Baltimore in the AL East. They're hitting the ball to Nestor Cortez in this game. He's 7-10 this year with a 4.00 ERA. He comes into this game fresh off of back-to-back just absolute dazzling appearances, guys. Against Cleveland, his last start was 7 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs allowed, 4 strikeouts, just lights out stuff. Before that, it was against Chicago White Sox, guys, but it was at the White Sox. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, 0 walks, and 0 runs allowed. So to say he's throwing the ball well right now is an understatement. The guy is absolutely dealing out there. Hopefully he'll be able to keep it rolling against a team like the Nationals. They're not somebody that he's faced this season, so we'll see what we get from him. Right now, cannot argue with the fact that he is throwing the ball great. In terms of their bullpen, the Yankees are sliding a little bit, but a 3.67 bullpen ERA. Very little to hang your head about on that one. I think against a team like the Nationals, we can expect the Yankees bullpen to have a pretty good time. How do we expect the Yankees hitting to go? Well, I think you can pretty much pencil Judge in for a home run. That's what it feels like at this point anyway. They've scored 10, 2, 3, 6, and 8 runs respectively over their last few games. This is the second highest scoring team in Major League Baseball. They are batting .250 as a squad. That's 11th best. They're the second best on base percentage team and the third best slugging percentage team. So yeah, guys, over the course of the season, pretty freaking wild stuff. This is an absolutely elite offense. So we'll see what they can do here against the Nationals, who come into this one fresh off of a 5-1 win there at Atlanta in Game 3 of that series, but they did lose the series 2-1. They're 59 and 72 on the year, so not headed anywhere important. They're giving the ball in this game to Mitchell Parker, who's 7 and 7 this season with a 4.26 ERA. His last start was absolutely lights out, guys, against the Rockies. 7 innings, only a single earned run allowed on 5 hits while striking out 6. So pretty good stuff there. I mean, obviously the Rockies not the toughest opponent. It was a nice bounce back after he got absolutely shelled by the Phillies. He's a young guy. We're going to expect some ups and downs, maybe a lot of ups and downs. He hasn't faced the Yankees yet this season. Obviously, that could be a little bit of a tough situation for a young pitcher to go against all these insane power hitters. So we'll see what he can do out there. We'll also see what we get from that Nationals bullpen that hasn't been as bad recently as it was there for a few weeks. A 4.09 ERA coming out of the pen, though. Maybe not something we would tab as elite. Would we say that the Nationals offense is elite? Well, they've scored 5, 2, 2, 8, and 6 runs over the last few games. They are 19th in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors in slugging percentage. So elite, not exactly the word I would use for an offense that's led by Luis Garcia Jr. and CJ Abrams. So we'll see what we get from them at the plate. Not expecting miracles, especially going against Cortez, who's throwing the ball so well right now. So the numbers for this one pretty much make sense for me. We've got the Yankees at -175, the Nationals at +158. We've got an over-under of 9 in this game. The Yankees are 41 and 25 on the road, guys. That is an MLB best mark on the road. The Nationals are 30 and 33 at home, which not terrible considering their season-long record. In terms of the side in this game, guys, I'm obviously going to be leaning towards the Yankees. If you like taking them at, well, it looks like it's up to -184 now. That doesn't seem very appealing. If you take a -1.5, you can have it down to -110. That seems more reasonable. I would think that's a pretty reasonable spot to be looking at. And in terms of the over-under of 9 in this game, yeah, the Yankees are a significant over team on the road, and the Nationals are basically a 50-50 over-under team at home. So if you wanted to take a look at over 9, I guess you could, but I have too much faith in Cortez to have a good start in this game. So my value pick on this one is definitely going to be the Yankees -1.5, and it's got a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we're looking at game 2 of that doubleheader between the Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox. The Blue Jays are going to be handing the ball to Jose Barrios here in game 2. He is 12 and 9 this season with a 3.79 ERA. So overall, having a pretty good year, and his last couple 3 starts actually have been very, very good, guys. Those are starts against the Reds, Angels, and Oakland A's, so maybe not elite opponents, but he's gone 7 innings in each one of those starts, and he has never allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of them. So yeah, pretty lights out stuff. I mean, gotta love how Barrios is throwing the ball right now. Will that hold up against a team like the Boston Red Sox? That seems like a bit of a bigger ask. I don't think we can expect him to be quite so lights out. The Red Sox are a team he hasn't faced this season, so I would say that's maybe a little bit of an advantage for him. But yeah, a little bit worried about Barrios in this game, but I can't argue with the fact that he's been throwing the ball great as of late. So we'll see what we get from him. We'll also, see what we get from the Toronto bullpen, which is a big concern in every one of their games. The Red Sox in this game 2 here are slated to hand the ball to Nick Pivetta, who is 5 and 8 on the season with a 4.70 ERA. His last couple of starts have not been great, guys. Against Houston, at Houston, 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. He's given up 2 home runs in each of his last 5 starts. That's pretty wild, guys. The dude gives up 2 home runs in every single time he takes the mound. So that's a bit concerning, even going up against a team like the Toronto Blue Jays. The last time he took on Toronto, he didn't have a great time. 7 innings, 9 hits. He escaped with only 3 earned runs allowed in that game, but seems like he got a little bit lucky. He did give up I gave up a walk and 2 home runs in that one. It was a game we eventually saw Boston win, but it was not Pivetta's fault there. So we'll see how he looks in this one. I'm not feeling great with him on the mound. I'm also not feeling amazing about that Boston bullpen either. So yeah, you guys, you might have to check back in the pinned comment. But right now, the Blue Jays +136 here in game 2 of this doubleheader is looking pretty freaking good. I mean, that's a very reasonable price. The over-under of 9.5 or 9, not super interested in that. Maybe would even shade under 9.5, but yeah, guys, the Blue Jays +136 here in game 2 might just go straight into the pinned comment. If not, be checking that pinned comment over the course of the day, especially after game 1 of this doubleheader finishes, and we'll be able to tell you whether or not it's in there. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Braves come into this game fresh off of a 5-1 loss there against the Nationals in Game 3 of that series. That loss snapped a 3-game winning streak Atlanta is still 6 games back in the NL East. They're handing the ball in this game to Max Fried, who's 7-7 this season with a 3.57 ERA. He's coming off a very good start against the Phillies, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs in that one. He struck out 4 and walked 1. Very solid stuff against a very solid opponent. Yeah, I honestly can't complain. Fried's been throwing the ball relatively well as of late. In this particular matchup going against the Twins, it could be a little bit rough. They have been a pretty hard-hitting team this season, and they're a team that he hasn't faced yet this year, so I would say that probably helps him, if anything. In terms of their bullpen, Atlanta has been fantastic out there, guys. Second best in the majors, a 3.26 bullpen ERA. Nothing to turn your nose up at there. That is great production there from that bullpen. The question for Atlanta pretty much all season long has been, where is the offense going to come from? They've scored 1, 4, 3, 3, 2, and 3 runs respectively over their last few games. They are 17th in the majors in runs scored, 20th in the majors on base percentage. Like, unless Ozuna is out there killing it, which the dude's batting over 300 with 37 home runs this year, like, he's having a great season, but they need every bit of that for them to, compete with these other teams that have better offenses. So we'll see what we get from them at the plate in this one, going up against the Twins, who come into this game fresh off of losing 2 out of 3 there against the Cardinals. They're 72-58 on the season, 3 games back of Cleveland in the AL Central. They're going to be handing the ball to Bailey Ober, who's 12-5 this year with a 3.54 ERA. His last start was back on the 20th against the Padres, and he was decent. 6 innings, 3 earned runs in that one. Not bad. Over his last 5 starts, he's never given up more than 3 earned runs, and he's only given up 3 earned runs 1 time, and that starts against the Padres, Rangers, Cleveland, Chicago White Sox, and Tigers. So not the toughest opponents, but still, Bailey Ober throwing the ball pretty freaking well. And the Twins bullpen, that's kind of another story, but they haven't been terrible. A 3.93 bullpen ERA has them somewhere around MLB average. And when this offense is on, guys, an average bullpen is not a big concern. Unfortunately, the offense being on hasn't really been the case recently. 2, 6, 1, 11, 5, and 3 runs respectively over their last few games. Just not exactly the standard that this team is used to. They're the 5th highest scoring team in Major League Baseball. They're batting .253 as a squad on the season. They're getting on base at a .323 clip. That's 8th best in the majors, and they're a top 6 slugging team in the Major League. So expecting pretty good stuff from them at the plate, generally speaking. It's just been a little bit rough for them lately. Having Carlos Correa out has definitely not helped that situation, and he's not going to be back for this one. They're also missing Max Kepler. That's not ideal. He could be back. He was out due to left knee soreness, so that could just be like a temporary thing, or, it's a knee. It could be a little bit longer. So we'll see how healthy they are for this game, but looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Braves at -108, the Twins at -110. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Atlanta, not the best road team, 34-32 on the road, not a disaster though. Minnesota, 37-25 at home, a very solid home team. In terms of the over-under, we've got mixed trends here. The Twins are an over team at home, and Atlanta is a pretty significant under team on the road. With an over-under of 7.5, I don't think I'm super interested in that. I would maybe shade a bit towards the under, but in general in this game, guys, I think I like the Twins -110. This should be a good spot for Ober here against a struggling Atlanta Braves offense, and just generally speaking, I think it's a slightly better spot for the Minnesota Twins. So yeah, that's going to be my lean in this one. Am I leaning hard enough to put it in the pinned comment? That seems like a bit much, but we'll just have to check back and see. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road here to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Padres come into this game 74-58 on the year. They're fresh off of that walk-off home run. Thank you very much, Jackson Merrill. To win Game 3 there against the Mets. They're 74-58 overall, which puts them 4.5 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West. The Padres are hitting the ball in this one to Randy Vasquez, who's 3-6 this season with a 4.63 ERA. His last start was against the Pirates. Maybe not a dominant start, but 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, and 3 earned runs. That was enough to put his team in a position to win a 7-6 eventually in that one. His start before that against Colorado was very, very good. He's a little bit inconsistent, maybe not my favorite starting pitcher in the MLB, but he generally seems to find a way to keep his team in games. And yeah, guys, with this offense behind you, it's got to feel pretty good to be a starting pitcher. And to be honest, the bullpen for the Padres hasn't been that bad here down the stretch either. They're in the top half of the majors with a 3.90 bullpen ERA, which is much better than this bullpen was looking early in the season, guys. So a lot does still fall on this offense, but they're generally speaking up to the task. Maybe not so much lately, not swinging the hottest bats. 3, 1, 7, 3, and 4 runs over their last few. Not the hottest bats at the moment, but over the course of the season, they're still the top batting average team in the major leagues. They're 10th best in runs scored. Like, this is a pretty freaking good offense. So we'll see what they can do here against a team like the St. Louis Cardinals, who come into this game actually playing pretty well. They've won 4 out of their last 5 to get to 65-65 on the season. Dealing with some injuries once again, guys. Contreras going to be out with a broken finger for a while, so pretty tough luck for him. The Cardinals have a lot of work to do, 10 games back of Milwaukee in the NL Central. They're handing the ball to Kyle Gibson in this game, who's 7-5 this year with a 4.22 ERA. His last start was against the Milwaukee Brewers, 5 1/3 innings, 7 hits, only 2 earned runs though. A nice bounce back after getting destroyed at Cincinnati and giving up 4 home runs in that game. So yeah, that wasn't ideal. What do we expect him to do here against the Padres? I mean, it's a bit unclear. Gibson just has not been somebody that I've had a lot of faith in over the course of the season. Maybe coming into the year I thought he'd be good, but yeah, it has not really been the case for the Cardinals for him. So that's a little bit rough. I mean, in terms of their bullpen, the Cardinals have been pretty good. Top 10 in the majors with a 3.66 bullpen ERA. Nothing wrong with that. The question for this team seems to always be, where's the offense going to come from? They've scored 3, 0, 6, 3, and 10 runs over their last few games. So maybe swinging some better bats, but obviously losing somebody like Contreras is not going to help, and they're only 24th in the majors in runs scored this season and 21st in slugging percentage. So definitely a bit worried about that. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Padres at -110, the Cardinals at -106. We've got an over-under of 9 in this game. That seems like a pretty big number for these two teams, or at least for the Cardinals. The Padres are a great road team, 36-26 on the road. The Cardinals are 33-30 at home, so not a terrible home team. In terms of the over-under, not a lot of trends here, and with a number as high as 9.5, probably just going to stay away from that. I would maybe trend under 9, but really, guys, I love the Padres -110 in this spot. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Cardinals right now. I am a little bit worried about the Padres bats, don't get me wrong, but going against Kyle Gibson, I think they're going to find some success, and even against that Cardinals bullpen, they could find something. So go ahead and give me the Padres -110 in this one. Definite shot to end up in the pinned comment. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Tigers come into this game fresh off of wins in each of their first 3 games of this series, so pretty crazy stuff there. 65-66 on the year, though, not having, the best time. A long way from competing, it feels like, for this team, but they're handing the ball in this one to young Ty Madden. He's going to be coming up to make this start. It'll be interesting to see what we get from this young guy in this game in the major leagues. So yeah, I don't know. It's really tough to peg what these guys coming out of the minors are going to do in their first outing. In terms of their bullpen, which could get a good amount of work in this one, potentially the Tigers are decent, kind of middle of the pack, a 3.97 bullpen ERA. Not too much wrong with that, kind of around MLB average. In terms of their offense, they scored 9, 13, 5, 2, and 8 over their last several games. Obviously, going up against a team like the White Sox has to feel pretty good. A spot for guys like Colt Keith and Riley Green to, put up some numbers. This team is 20th in the majors in runs scored and 25th in batting average, though. So, a lot riding on the fact that they're going against the White Sox, who come into this game. They're the fastest team in the modern era to lose 100 games, so that probably doesn't feel great. They are 31-100 on the season. Hitting the ball in this one to Davis Martin, who's 0-2 this year with a 3.22 ERA. He's coming off of a mediocre but not terrible start at the Giants. I mean, 4 1/3 innings and 2 earned runs allowed. Not the end of the world, especially for a guy that's pitching for the Chicago White Sox. He's had some very good outings over his last few, but the White Sox are 0-5 over the last 5 times he was on the mound, so that has to be kind of a tough pill to swallow. And also, guys, this bullpen is terrible. Second worst in the majors, a 5.05 bullpen ERA, and the absolutely worst offense in the majors as well. Dead last in all the major categories. Nothing positive to say about an offense that scored 4, 4, 2, 6, and 1 runs respectively over their last few games. Most of those in games where they're getting blown out. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Tigers at -135, the White Sox at +128. We've got an over-under of 9. Detroit is 33-34 on the road. The White Sox have the worst record in the MLB at home this season. Not a major shocker there. They're also a significant under team at home. Guys, I don't know. I mean, we got a rookie starter for the Tigers. I still lean towards the Tigers -135. Probably won't put it in the pinned comment, kind of because of that rookie starter and because this would be, banking on Detroit to win all 4 games in this series. But yeah, I'm very unlikely to ever be taking the White Sox to win a game. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. The Marlins come into this game fresh off of a 7-2 win there over the Cubs in Game 3 at Wrigley Field, or not at Wrigley Field, just Game 3 against the Cubs. The Marlins are going to be going on the road to Coors Field for this one. They're handing the ball to Edward Cabrera in this game. He's 2-5 this season with a 5.65 ERA. His last start was against the Diamondbacks, and he didn't get destroyed. 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs in that game. But again, against a team like the Diamondbacks, that's actually relatively solid work. We got to give the guy credit where credit is due. When you have a good outing as a Marlins pitcher, you're not really going to get rewarded in too many ways. You just have to hope that people, recognize what you're doing. He has started against the Rockies earlier in the season, 4 innings, 3 hits, 4 earned runs in that one, so not his best stuff. He was clearly having some control issues in that game, but that was a long time ago. I think he's matured a good amount over the course of the season. In terms of their bullpen, Miami is slumping, guys. They're down to a 4.13 bullpen ERA, which has them in the bottom 10 in the majors, so that's not ideal, and they're not exactly a great offensive team despite the fact they're coming off of scoring 7 runs. They've scored 7, 2, 3, 8, 1, and 6 runs over their last few games. 29th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors in on-base percentage as well. So we'll see what they can do here against the Rockies, who come into this game without a confirmed starter and not necessarily playing their best ball. I mean, they did win 1 out of 3 there at, Yankee Stadium, so I'm sure that was fun. But yeah, with no confirmed starter for them in this one, it makes me pretty nervous. This could be a bullpen start for the Rockies, who have the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball. That has pretty much been the case all season long. So yeah, if it's going to be a bullpen start for the Rockies, we're going to be wanting to lean pretty hard towards the Marlins. Just don't have a lot of news on that yet. We'll see what actually comes out. You might want to check the pinned comment, although betting on the Marlins does seem a little bit sketchy. This is an average MLB offense, guys, just, despite getting to play at Coors Field, 18th in runs scored, 15th in batting average, stuff like that. So looking at the numbers for this game, not all the numbers are released. It's currently showing Miami at -108 and the Rockies at -108 and an over-under of 10.5. We got both teams showing trends towards the under in this situation. So if you wanted to take under 10.5, I could honestly get behind that a little bit. I know betting unders at Coors Field doesn't feel like the best. In terms of the side in this one, I'm going to be looking towards the Marlins at -108 since this is likely to be a bullpen start from the Rockies. But is this going in the pinned comment? Not until I get all the information. Last but not least here, guys, we've got the Tampa Bay Rays going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. The Rays come into this game fresh off losing 2 out of 3 there at the Dodgers. They're 65-65 in the year, handing the ball to Ryan Pepiot in this game. He's 7-5 this season with a 3.65 ERA. His last start was at Oakland, and it was pretty solid. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. He did give up a home run in that game and struck out 5. We also see the Rays are 4-0 over his last 4 starts, so that's pretty impressive. And that starts against Oakland, Arizona, Cleveland, and the Yankees. So pretty solid stuff there from Pepiot. Liking what I'm seeing from him out there on the mound. What do we think about the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen? Well, despite getting off to a very tough start to the season, looking like a terrible bullpen, they're around top 10, maybe top 12 in the majors right now with a 3.78 bullpen ERA. So they've turned it around. This is actually a bullpen that you can pretty much trust. And the bats, while they haven't been going nuts, they did score 9 runs in one of their games against the Dodgers. So that's something, but just not a very good offensive team, guys. I mean, 28th in the majors in runs scored, 26th in the majors in batting average. Not a lot of scary hitters that are running up there to the plate. So yeah, the offense could be a problem in this one. They're taking on the Seattle Mariners, though, a team that often has problems with their offense. They are 66-65 in the year. They're now 4.5 games back of Houston in the AL West. They're giving the ball to Bryce Miller, who's 9-7 this year with a 3.32 ERA. He's coming off of a mediocre but not terrible start against the Dodgers. I mean, 4 innings, 2 earned runs against the Dodgers. Not too bad. Starts before that, though, guys, at Detroit, shut him out over 7 innings. Against the Mets, shut them out over 6 innings. So yeah, this is a guy that's pretty freaking solid and likely to play low-scoring games. And Bryce Miller, just a monster out there. The Mariners bullpen, also not terrible, a 3.92 bullpen ERA. Not amazing, but also not terrible. So yeah, looking at the offense for the Mariners, though, speaking of terrible, they're pretty bad, guys. 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, and 0 runs respectively over their last few. They're 27th in the majors in runs scored. They're dead last in the MLB in batting average. They're 29th in the major leagues in slugging percentage. Like, this is just not a very good offensive team, guys. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Rays at +102, the Mariners at -120. We've got an over-under of 7 in this game. Tampa Bay is 30-31 on the road. The Mariners are a very good home team, 39-27 at home. We've got both teams showing pretty significant trends towards the under in this situation. Unfortunately for us, the over-under is only at 7, so that makes it a little bit rough, but I do think under 7 is definitely in play in this game. I also like the Rays at +102 a good amount in this spot with Pepiot out there, but we'll have to see if this ends up in the pinned comment. I don't know, it just feels a little bit rough to be betting on a side in a game that I think is going to be so low scoring, and it feels a little bit sketchy to bet on under 7. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.